alone, choking for a long time. Swimming in your pussy, I'ma dive in. Your nigga keep blowing up your line, put it on silent. Okay, I just play my role. Told me we should take it slow.
Hey everybody, welcome to Deeper Dive Convos with Tenilej, and I have my homegirl here, Teila. And we are about to chop it up because we're about to talk about self-love, we're about to talk about fitness, and we're about to talk about her journey and her decision on why she decided to get some nip tuck. We all know what that is, right? So she will elaborate more. So let's just jump right into it.
Let's.
Okay, so as long as I've known you, you always been about fitness.
Yes.
So just talk to us a little bit about your journey, like why you became so engulfed in like wanting to make your body better by eating right and working out so much.
Okay. First, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I'm super excited to have this conversation because it's really true to who I am. The fitness thing, and like you said, when you met me, that was my life, which it really was. So it started with me relocating back to the Bay Area from Atlanta. I had moved. I lived there for about 5 years, and I decided to come home for a few different reasons, but I wondered if people were going to think that I was a failure or, oh, she came back because she couldn't make it or whatever, And it was some financial stuff. It was also some family stuff. My son at the time was 5, and he just needed to know family and a bunch of different things. So it was a bunch of reasons of why I decided to come back.
A culmination of things.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so at the time, though, I was super depressed, to the point of not wanting to come out of the room. I had to move back with my auntie and my uncle, which is who raised me after my mom passed away. And so when I came back, I had to move with them because the prices of everything had skyrocketed while I was gone. That same apartment I had in Pittsburgh, California, and I was paying probably $825 for a 1-bedroom. That same 1-bedroom apartment was like $1,500 or something. It was like crazy, you know? So I came back and I had to find a job, and so I had to move back in with my aunt and my uncle, and I just wasn't happy. I didn't want to be here. I wanted to go back to Atlanta.
Do you know what made you unhappy or what made you feel so depressed?
Just the whole fact that I had to come back. It was just, I didn't want to be here. And I loved Atlanta so much that I felt like in another lifetime I had to be from that place. That's how I felt. It felt like home. And coming back here, I don't know, it was something going on. But anyway, I had started with a company called Herbalife, selling the shakes. I had started that while I was in Atlanta, but I literally had started right before I came back. Because while in Atlanta, I've always been a small girl, never had any curves or anything of the sort. I was probably 115 pounds in high school. And so while I was in Atlanta, I got up to 172 pounds.
And how tall are you?
5'4". Partying, drinking, staying up all night, going to work the next day, lack of sleep. Because people don't realize you can put on weight from not getting enough sleep.
Didn't know that.
So I literally, between the drinking, the smoking, the partying, whatever I was doing, I got up to 172 pounds, the biggest I had ever been in my life. So that also contributed to my depression. And so when I started selling Herbalife, I honestly hadn't even drunk a shake before I made my first sale. Not even gonna lie.
And selling stuff and not even had it.
I used everyone else's experience to sell. Posting other people's results.
And that also makes a good salesperson.
I'm telling you, that's what I did. And after I made my first sale, I finally had enough money to buy the product myself. So I used the profits that I made to buy my own products. So I started going to the gym, and I was using the Herbalife, and as the weight started to fall off, I felt so good. Like my skin started glowing. I'm happy again for like no reason at all. And over time, it probably took me, I think I lost like 26 pounds on Herbalife in the first 6 weeks. But I was in the gym hardcore and I ate extremely healthy. I cut out fast food. I was very strict on what I was doing. After I had gotten to those results, I said, if I could make people feel the way that I feel, if you could fight depression with fitness, would you do it? Absolutely, because that's how I did it.
That should be on a t-shirt.
And it worked for me, though. It brought me back out of my shell. I stopped feeling like a failure. It was something about being able to lose weight with the hard work that I put in that motivated me to like the 10th power, you know. And
it unlocked something within you.
It absolutely did. And so I felt like if I can help people feel what I feel, if I can help people lose some weight, because honestly, it's like one of the hardest things for people to do in life.
Oh yeah,
is to lose weight and
it's
to
like
stay
being
committed.
on drugs. You know, it's like I can't stop. The weight just keeps coming. It's just
I'm trying to tell you, it's so hard. It takes another level of discipline, another level of commitment. And I said that if I could motivate people to get to where I am and to feel how I feel, I have made it. I've made it. So I went and got certified and became a personal trainer. And that was 2014 and 15. Okay. And I've been doing it ever since.
So, you know, if you guys follow Teila, she is constantly working out, you know, and now she's a mom of 2. And so tell us about how that journey was quickly, you know, just being a little older, having a baby for a second time with the time span, because our son is much older.
Right.
So tell us about that and the body changes.
Oh, perfect. So my son Jay, he's 12 now, and I have a 3-year-old daughter. We call her Lele, but her name is Jale. And with Jay, I had him, I was 23 when I had him, and I had gained weight, but it just fell right off. You know, like it was like, oh, you know, you had
that sounds good.
I mean, you know, it just fell right off. Like, but you know, and then that was 23-year-old, you know, baby body. You know, I still obviously having a baby changes your body, and everybody doesn't have just that, you know, snapback or whatever. Okay, we're not gonna talk about that but anyway. So, because I don't think I necessarily had a snapback, I just think that over time I went back to the
how you were
before I had him. But when I had my daughter at 32 or whatever, 32, it didn't do the same. My body didn't do the same thing. And I went back to my workouts. While I was pregnant with her, I worked out very minimally because I was sick. Heck, like it was very hard. The days I could get to the gym, I did, or the days I could work out, I did. But for the most part, I did not work out continuously during my pregnancy with her. So after I had her, I honestly felt the pressure to get my body back, because I had been in fitness for so long, and because I had a following already of people who knew that this was what I did. And so when my body didn't go right back, I was like, oh shit. You know? Nervous. Like, you know, because I knew people were watching. But people watching makes me go harder. So I enjoy the platform actually, because it keeps me motivated. But I did go back to eating healthy. Maybe not as healthy though as I did before her. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't.
Somebody be like, I was with her when she ate.
Right. I definitely was not as strict as I was prior to her, and but I was still very consistent with my workouts. That just comes second nature to me. Is like nothing, you know. And so I did get back to that, but I still had. Like, I would have, like, abs here, and then, like, the mommy pouch.
Pouch.
That they call it down here.
Fupa.
And I used all the same products I used. I did some Herbalife. I did a bunch of different things, and I just couldn't get it to go away. It was like after that second child, it was just.
So was it just was it like the skin? Was it fat? Like, because everybody's stomach is different.
Right. It was fat more than anything, but there is still some loose skin, and there was loose skin. So it was a combination of both.
Okay.
But when you lose weight from the top down. And your stomach is like a world of its own. The midsection is like a world of its own. So when you lose weight or when you're working out, you may actually see a 2-pack coming here, and you still have
nothing there
because the stomach is almost like the whole body, but it's like in a world of its own. So it slims down from the top down, top down. That's how it works. And so
that's true. You never seen somebody have like a fatter stomach up here and then down here. That just don't work.
I'm telling you, the lower abs is extremely hard, and then after children, you may need to repair some muscles or something there too.
That makes sense.
So that can also stop it from retracting or going back to what it was. And that's some people that do go get tummy tucks. They end up getting muscle repair too, because that's the only way to have it come back. But nobody talks about that.
They don't. Let's talk about it, because I don't know. I mean, because like when I have my son and he's 8, I did Herbalife and I lost 20 pounds, and then I was fine. But he's 8 and now I'm heavier, and so it's not because of him. Yeah. But it's because of me. But it did change my body. Like my stomach, I was never able to get my stomach flat or as flat as it was prior to me having him. And so, I don't have extra skin, but I do, obviously, besides me just gaining this extra weight this last year and a half or so. But it's just like that lower part is just, and it's like saying F me in a real way.
Yeah. And the whole thing is like you said, you say he's 8, and so he may not have contributed to the weight gain over the last year and a half, but he's contributed to your body changing. Right. And age, as you get older, it's definitely, we're still very young.
But we're just older.
We're very young, yes. We are. But as you get older, the weight it's a little harder to get off as well. So it just takes a certain level of discipline, but it's also having realistic expectations, knowing that some stuff, I don't care how hard you work out or how well you eat, once your body goes through something as serious as creating life, which is a beautiful thing, right? But it can be permanently
different.
Exactly. That's the word I was looking for. Different. So, so then that led me to
why we're here today. Okay, so one of the main reasons why we're here, we always tap in and, on IG or whatever, but she recently shared that she had a procedure done, and like I said, she's very adamant on her fitness journey, right? So I was like, well, me personally, what you mean your body now? Like, what's happening? What's going on? Then she was like talking about the booty, and I was like, what? Like, you didn't have a booty? And so I was like, right. But I didn't really pay attention, and we haven't seen each other in person in a long time. Yeah. So I was like, okay. So then I went and looked through some of her pictures, and I said, oh, okay. Yeah. I got you. So tell us why. And let me just say, it looks so good.
Thank
you. Looks so good. It looks so natural. Some people need to take a page out of your book, and not to diss anybody, but it's just like, if that's the look you're going for, then so be it. But it just looks very natural.
Which is what I wanted.
And I know a few people who have done it, and they look very natural as well too. So again, no diss to anybody, but I'm just giving Teila her kudos and props. Okay.
I appreciate it.
So
thank you.
Yeah, of course. So tell us what led you there. Like, okay, boom, and this is why I'm making this decision.
So what happened was I have a couple of friends who had procedures done, but they did more like mommy makeovers without the boobs. Like they did the tummy tuck and the BBL and the lipo, but they went to the DR to get it done.
Okay. Is that dangerous?
I think that any surgery anywhere is dangerous. So you literally have to do your research and find a doctor that makes you feel comfortable, because you are definitely making a decision that could go one way or the other, you know, because things happen.
That's
but true. More of them are successful than not.
Got it.
And because if it wasn't, they would not be able to perform these surgeries.
Got it.
So you got to keep that in mind too. Like, if it was just killing everybody off, I'm pretty sure the government would come in at some point and say, okay, this is not happening.
It's reckless.
Yeah, this is no more surgeons, cosmetic surgery, plastic surgery, unless it was like reconstructive or something where you necessarily needed it. So I look at it like that. Plus, I'm more of an optimistic person anyway. So they felt comfortable with the doctors that they chose in the DR, and I saluted them for that. Okay. You do what makes you feel good, and as long as you feel comfortable, who am I to tell you, well, I've heard, that's not my place. You're my friend. I'm going to speak life into you and make sure that you know that I know you're going to come back looking good. Right. You know what I'm saying?
And okay looking. Yes.
So, but anyway, so I had friends who had done it. And I just had gotten to a point where I felt like I've been doing this fitness stuff for 7 years. At that time, it was, about 7 years. And I had 2 kids, throughout my life. And I am very committed to what I do. Yeah. Right? But at the same time, I deserve to look as hard as I work. Yes. Period. Because I put the work in. And I shouldn't have a fupa. I don't want it. Okay?
Do away with the
So, and I mean, my body still looked damn good though. Let me not make no mistake. I was very happy with what I had done with my body myself. If you go through my fitness page on Instagram, you will see that my body has gone through several changes, and all of that I did on my own. Yeah. I've never had a personal trainer. Yeah. So, I've
been your personal trainer.
And done it myself.
Good. Yes.
So at this point, after, because, I had my husband say, if you go get this, do you think people are still going to believe you or trust you? And I said, absolutely. Because one, I'm going to be honest. That's one, because there's a market for us to be honest. There's a lot of trainers.
That's what we need to do. Be honest.
Absolutely. There's a lot. I said, so they're going to respect me more than anything. Yeah. And then they'll buy what I'm selling.
Yes. Period. Because you're like, this works. I've used this.
Yes.
I'm telling you this works. And this is why I got the surgery anyways. And it may not fit everybody, but some people would be like, you know what? I've been working hard too. And I need to do this too.
Exactly.
Let me talk to you. Let me jump on board and see what you got going on.
Exactly. And the other thing too is it doesn't matter to me how you get to the result. Is what you do after. That makes all of the difference. You know what I'm saying? Because people used to ask me when I was selling Herbalife, like, oh, if I stop taking it, will I gain the weight back? I mean, yeah, if you go back to eating cheeseburgers.
Right. It's naturally like anything. If you go from eating like a plant diet and all of a sudden you eating red meat all the time, of course.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Whatever you use to get to that end result, if you don't have some type of routine or plan to maintain it, you're going to go back to, it doesn't matter. Like I've witnessed it where people have even gone and gotten surgery and then turn around and look like they haven't had anything done. Right. But it's because you have to be committed to the lifestyle, period. Right. And so where I am and what I've accomplished over the years, I'm committed, and I know that I'm committed. And I just, like I said, I felt like I deserve to look as hard as I work because I put the work in. I'm not lazy. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not knocking anybody that goes and gets surgery that doesn't work out or don't have a plan. But I'm just here to tell you.
Like you said, you work for this, and it's like, okay, Like you said, I don't want this damn food, but why are you here? Let's go.
But the whole thing is too, you go have the surgery,
Mm-hmm.
and then after, you know, some people think, oh, as soon as I come off the table, I'm gonna just have this bomb ass, and it doesn't work like that either.
So kind of take us to the process. So do you mind sharing what you did?
No.
Okay.
So what do you mean, like
share with us the procedure that you had done?
So I had 360 lipo and a BBL.
Okay.
And honestly, the original plan was just the lipo.
Okay.
Because I've never had an ass and I didn't care about it at that time.
Okay.
I just wanted this gone to match what I had
Up
did
top,
here,
yeah.
right? And so I started doing my research on doctors that performed lipo, and a lot of the doctors who do lipo, they do BBLs too. It just kind of, because you can't get the BBL without the lipo. They have to get the fat from somewhere. Right. So when you're researching, there's a lot of BBL stuff coming up because most of those doctors, like I said, they perform BBL. So then I started thinking like, well, I have hip dips. That can be correct. I mean, I'm going anyway, right? So I'm like, okay, I have hip dips that can be filled in, and even if I don't like end up with a big old butt, because I didn't want a big old butt. It is big though, anyway. But I just wanted my hip dips filled in so that I had a nice shape, right? With because that's another thing. I don't care how much you work out, how many weights you lift. I don't care about if you have hip dips. The gym not gonna fix that, baby. That's what it's gonna be.
What is hip dips? Because I hear Marilyn about to Google Marilyn in the background.
So your hips are down here,
yes,
right? And it's like when it go but the hip dips go from here to the back, so it's like a little dent.
Dent inside, right there,
and on both sides,
there's nothing there.
Yeah, there's nothing there. So and then on top of that, like I didn't even have a bunch of fat. Like I gained like 15 pounds for the surgery because when I decided to do the transfer.
Okay, I'm so glad you said that because I was wondering because if y'all follow her, she's thin. So I was like, where the hell did she? Where did she get this?
I definitely gained about 15 pounds for the surgery. Okay. And in most women, where does the weight go? Yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
And so I was so uncomfortable for like a month before the surgery because all I own is like crop tops and, but I did have a fupa, but I was able to cover it with pants and certain stuff. So all of my shirts are like up here,
right?
And I couldn't even wear any of my clothes. This is crazy. But I gained the weight because once I decided to do the transfer, I knew that if I wanted a nice, good round butt that I had to put some pounds on. So I did gain a little weight for the surgery once I decided to do the transfer. But that was it. I did the 360 lipo and the BBL.
Okay. So then once you did that, you mentioned that people think you're just gonna be, boom, have this awesome body right off the table. And let me just say, y'all, I've been seeing, and I don't know, because these phones, y'all, iPhones, y'all be listening, and stuff been popping up, and I've been seeing people's like recovery from their surgery and like the drain and the bruises, and it just makes me want to die, quite frankly. So what is that process like, and how is it? What did you do afterwards?
Okay, so let me just tell you, I will never do it again.
See?
We'll never do it again. Now, it was absolutely worth it, though.
Okay,
because I love my shape now. But as I said before, I was not totally dissatisfied with my whole body.
Right.
It was just one little part. The hip dips didn't even bother me. But once I decided to do the lipo, I said, okay, I might as well get those filled in because I'm going under anyway. But anyway, you get off the table, and first of all, everything is huge. Because
it's swollen. Yes.
So, I mean, honestly, like, I have a YouTube channel. I documented everything on my YouTube.
Did?
I sure did.
How I missed that?
I don't know, but it's all there. And when my husband recorded.
We'll put that down in the link.
We sure. Well, that's a good idea. But my husband did the recording for me. And at one point, he zoomed in on my butt the camera as he was recording. And I had on a robe, a black robe at that. You know, black make you look slim. Yeah. Baby, it was there. It was like, bow. And honestly, but everything was swollen. Even up in here, like I was just, and so you get off and you're looking in the mirror and you're like, first of all, is this butt gonna go down? Because this is huge. I mean, if you want that, then you like, hey, you know, but I was like, it's a little too big. And then I was trying, but you know, and I knew that it was like some swelling, but you're also just kind of like, how much of it is swelling? Because you don't really just know, like, you know. So anyway, I mean, I was swollen I even still deal with swelling now. It's surprising that I'm not. Well, but the swelling is can get serious. So anyway, for the first week, you're just really trying to figure out what your body is going to look like. And
are you able to sit down, lay?
No, absolutely not.
So what are you in? What are you?
You have they put you in a garment which is called a faja. Okay. And it's a compression garment. Okay. And they come in stages, like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and the higher the compression, the more you go up. So your stage 1 is what the surgery center puts you in. So you wake up in that. It's a very light compression, but it holds your body together. Okay. Because once you get lipo, your body is like clay. Like you could literally mold into anything, you know. So it's very important to make sure you're compressing the areas that were lipo so that it looks the way you want it to look when it's all said and done.
Close my mouth. I'm like,
Yeah, it's crazy. So you wear the garment, and you're in I still wear mine. I'm almost 4 months post-op, so I don't wear it 24/7. But for the first 3 months, you're literally in this garment every day, all day. And then you have to wear these foams and boards, and they're the foams are soft. They're like real foam. And the boards are more like flat, hard.
Like plastic or?
They're you can bend them, but it's not plastic. I don't know what the material is, but they have different ones. They have an ab board, they have a back board, they have side boards. Okay. And so you wear the foams and the boards and the garment. What about? And some people wear this stuff. I didn't have drains, so I was going to say that. So some people wear the foams, boards, and the garment for 6 months to a year. Right. People are serious about the compression because the more you compress, the smaller your waist gets.
Got it.
So people are, constantly compressing because most people want that small waist to hip ratio. You know what I'm saying? As far as drains go, my doctor didn't use drains. Every doctor that performs these procedures don't always use them.
What's the purpose for drains?
So you end up having a lot of fluid that has to come out, and the fluid is moved through your lymphatic system, and you will urinate it out. But when your incisions are still open, the fluid comes through the incision. So some people like the drains because it prevents your faja, the garment, from looking bloody. Mind you, it's not blood though. You are pumped with 4 liters of sea salt before they perform the procedure. So literally you have the fluid coming out of you, but it's mixed with a little bit of blood, of course, but it's not. And so it looks extremely bloody, but it's mainly the sea salt, and people think it's blood. But anyway, when you have a drain, it prevents your faja from being messy.
Got it.
And because once the faja gets messy with the fluid and the blood on it, you have to soak it for hours before you wash it, and some of the stains don't come out. So some people prefer the drains, but I stayed at a recovery house in Miami after my procedure. My husband did go with me, but he came back the day after my surgery to get back to our kids. So I stayed at a recovery house to have somebody there caring for me, and that actually knew what to do. I could have stayed at
what's up.
I could have stayed at an Airbnb and had my friend or even had my husband stay, but I just wanted to be around people who dealt with this on a constant basis in case I passed out or, because he would have freaked out. So that wouldn't have been good. So I stayed at a recovery house, and my roommate in the recovery house had drains. But she couldn't get the drains removed before she went home. So she had to fly home with drains and she ended up removing them herself. Looked it up on YouTube, figured out how to pull them out and pulled them out because she couldn't find anybody in her hometown. Yeah, and couldn't find anybody in her hometown to do it. I was glad that I didn't have to.
Y'all making me feel some sort of way. I'm like gripping my hand underneath the table. That sounds really traumatic. You know
it is definitely a lot to put your body through. And so, not knocking anybody who continues to go back, but there's just no way I would put my body through all that trauma again.
That's why, I'm speaking from the outside in of this whole situation. Yeah. But what comes to mind is that, wow, when people do these type of procedures, and then whether it's that type of procedure, the BBL and the lipo BBL, or lap band, or what's the other one? Gastric bypass, the sleeve, all that stuff, and then you gain the weight back. Yeah. Because it's all surgery. Yeah. There's always a chance that you don't make it. Yeah. It's all recovery. It takes time. Yeah. And then and I know life, things happen, it's life. Mm-hmm. But more times than not, a lot of people, like you mentioned earlier, they gain the weight back. And so it's just like, what do you do? It's a lot. It must be something also mentally. I'm not a doctor, but I'm just speaking out loud. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
It's an experience, I'm going to say that for sure. The waking up out of surgery, because I did tons of research before, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of, I'm in Facebook groups, different surgery groups, because I didn't realize how big the surgery community is until I started doing my research. It's a whole nother world. Mm-hmm. The surgery community have their own world on social media. Okay. I mean, people have created surgery Instagram pages, which I have one. People, there's groups dedicated to specific doctors on Facebook, which I'm the admin for one of them. Okay. So we'll talk about that. But anyway, so it's definitely a whole nother world, right? But I read during my research that you wake up and you're in all of this pain, and you're just it just hurts, And I woke up and I didn't feel shit. I was trying to figure out if the surgery had happened. I was looking around I was not in pain like people said. The only thing that was going on with me was I could not stop shivering because I was cold from the anesthesia. Mm-hmm. So I was in there they ended up putting what felt like a blow dryer, something that just pushed heat. Under my blanket. Mm-hmm. And that was still not, my body was still shivering. That's all. I was cold as hell. And
do you give you medication for that?
So what happens is they do give you some medication, but Florida has regulations on how much medication they can give you while you're asleep. And so my doctor, he originally he's from Baltimore, Maryland. Okay. And he said in Maryland, my dad's from Baltimore. In Maryland, he can give you meds to the point where you wake up and you really don't feel anything. He said in Florida, he can't do the same thing. Okay. So he told me that I might wake up in some pain, but I wasn't. But by the time I got wheeled from the recovery room to my ride to go to the recovery house, I was in pain then. So it wasn't initial, but maybe after about 20 or 30 minutes from waking up, I was like, oh shit.
Oh my God.
And I was like, so anyway, I got to the recovery house.
I took leave it at that.
No, they prescribed me some pain meds that I brought with me. And so I took one and and rolled to the recovery house. I was waiting for it to kick in. It was not doing anything. I'm like, this is insane. And so I get to the recovery house.
They gave you some Tylenol.
No, they prescribed Percocets.
Okay.
Actually.
Okay.
But they tell you can take Tylenol too, like extra strength. So like in between, like the Percocets was like every 6 hours.
Yeah.
But they were saying like you can take Tylenol in between or whatever. I don't know. I don't care. None of it worked. Okay, but what I did was I laid down. I'm not gonna lie, my roommate had edibles. She said, chew a couple of these. I did it though. I was
like, I'm dying.
I was desperate though.
Did it help you?
I fell asleep, knocked me out.
Oh, okay.
I ate the edibles. It put me to sleep. I slept for about 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours. I don't know. By the time I woke up, I was not in any pain anymore. Gone.
Wow.
Gone. And I was just sore. It felt like I did 1,000 squats with 1,000 pounds,
Oh, right.
like, and then my whole body was just sore. It just felt like a really, really hard workout.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like, but I felt like that for about 7 weeks.
Yeah, no. No.
It wasn't until about week 8 that the soreness kind of subsided. So that was an experience. So for me, the pain wasn't that bad. I slept it off, woke up. It's just the recovery process is so long. My body is still recovering. And so for me, just being down for that long is not feasible for my lifestyle. Like I have goals and things I'm trying to accomplish.
Right.
People like, you did it at the right time because of COVID. We couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't do nothing anyway. But it's very easy to put weight on because I couldn't do anything. So I was 157 pounds the day of surgery. I'm 166 now.
Get out of here. Well, I don't know.
So that's how easy it is to put weight on, but I'm back in the gym though.
She gonna give y'all a twirl because I don't know. Well, we'll see where later.
I started working back out week 9. So I'm working on.
And I seen that you said I'm so glad to be back.
Yeah. And so I'm definitely back. When I first started, I had to take it easy. I just started lifting heavy again just this past week. So I'm getting back. So I'll drop the weight quickly. It's not a big deal. But I'm definitely bigger now than I was the day of surgery.
I just picture like it must be gonna be real refined because she's not big. The weight sounds, a lot in terms of her height and stuff,
Yeah.
But, baby.
I know, and that's why I'm like, I may not look 166 pounds, but I'm 166 pounds. And it's crazy because that's basically 10 pounds heavier than I was the day of surgery. So I could see, how easy it is for people to gain weight but I couldn't do anything. Like, you literally have to sleep on your stomach for at least the first 6 weeks. You're sleeping on your stomach. You can't really, when you finally do sit down, it's just...
So you can't sit down. You just, if you stand, you're just standing, and then you go lay back down on your stomach.
Pretty much.
Did you at any time accidentally sit down?
No.
No.
I would sit on my knees.
Okay.
I put pillows on the floor and sit on my knees and lean on the bed like this.
Okay.
And actually, I still do that now. I can sit down, obviously, now.
Yeah.
But from time to time, I find myself laying on my stomach or
Because you were
on
so
my
used
knees.
to that?
Yeah. But the crazy part is sleeping on my stomach was so uncomfortable that first week. My neck was hurting. Fingers was getting numb because I was like, what the hell? Like, now though, it's so comfortable.
Oh, really?
It's so, now I sleep on my stomach. It's crazy, so.
Dang, I do sleep on my stomach though already, or am I?
I'm more of a side sleeper,
Okay.
but because I had my hip dips filled, all of it was sore.
Okay.
So, and then too, just like I said, like your body's like clay, it also kind of get like that down here too if you have fat transferred.
Okay.
And you don't want one side to get flatter than the other, so you can't sleep on it. So you're laying on your stomach pretty much.
Wow.
So it's like I said, it's an experience, And I know people now who, because I've engulfed myself into the surgery community because it's so intriguing. And, people who literally had surgery the same day as me, like, oh, I booked my round 2 for next year. I'm like, good luck.
Because that is so intense. You know what I mean? It's so...
You know what it is, too? Your body changes so much the first 3 to 6 months. Your body changes a lot.
I heard that recovery can take, like... I was following somebody, I forget, I didn't follow her. She was just too much for me. But she was saying that her recovery really took a whole year.
Yeah.
That she was, was like really serious about it. And what do you call the compressions? That's
the garments.
The garments. So she was really...
Yeah, I think it takes about a year to so that's why a lot of people try not to schedule it again within that first year because your body is still really recovering. But I'm following people who's
What's the second round? Like, what does that mean?
That just means you're going to do it again. So my doctor taught me something because some people will be like, I'm going back for a revision, right?
Oh no.
Revisions are when the doctor has messed up.
Okay.
One butt cheek is lopsided, which actually might not be the doctor's fault because you don't know how much fat is actually going to survive.
Okay.
So you take that risk when you go get the surgery.
So you say survive, so it can die because like cells or whatever.
Yeah, so once first of all, when they take the fat out, all of it doesn't survive just initially. Okay. And then when they put it back in, some of it may still not survive. It may not take it,
Okay.
Just like you can lose fat
anywhere.
It's the same thing. So you take that risk of going to get this procedure done and then one hip going down, one hip, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because you don't know, but that's part of the risk you take. But some doctors will look at that and consider it a revision, which means you pay less than you paid if you go again, because some of them will just take ownership, like, okay, I'll fix it.
Right.
But my doctor told me that because of the fact of you not knowing whether or not the fat just didn't survive or whether or not it was actually the doctor's fault, there's no such thing as a revision. It's just a round 2.
Oh, damn.
And so round 2 is just going to do it, a revision, round 2, whatever, they're going to do the same thing
that they did the first
time. So, and you take the risk of it happening again. I had a friend who went and got her first round and her hips were very nice, but they didn't stick. So over time, she went back to having no hips. So she went back and did it again.
Okay.
And to get the hips, and they still, like, they're better now, but they still didn't really stick. Yeah.
Okay.
And so
sometimes it's just like that because it is surgery, so you just don't know.
It's just the risk that you're taking, but and then too. So what I was going to say, why people book round 2s is because your body goes through so many changes during the recovery process. Well, like I said, that first week, my butt was huge because I was swollen. And then like week 2 and 3, it went down. And then you start feeling like, dang, did I get anything done? Because it goes down. But then it fluffs back out, like, or something, like it just grows again. And you're like, oh shit, okay, don't get too big. But then it goes down again. Okay. And so your body goes through all of these changes, and a lot of people really do like that off the table booty, the swollen booty. Yeah. So then they go back because they really want it to look like that. Oh. I wanted mine to come down, but I think, I don't know if it was like week 6 or 7, whatever size it was that week, that's what I liked. Okay. And then it went down a little bit though. Okay. And I was like, dang. But then it grew again. It's like, it's an emotional and like mental roller coaster, I promise you.
It's psychological.
Because your body just changes so much over time. And so some people book round 2s without even knowing what their final results will be because it changes a lot.
So what about squats? Will squats help you keep your booty? Or like a certain exercise, will that help keep it round and...
Absolutely. So your butt is a muscle. Okay. Your gluteus, it's a muscle. So you can definitely build it. You can shape it. And so squats or not just necessarily squats, but other
like,
booty lifting exercises. You can do like the glute kickbacks, like those type of things, using resistance bands to make the muscle work harder. Those things will help. So yeah, of course.
So can we just say, you can't grow a booty?
You can definitely grow a booty.
You can?
You can. But let me tell you, you can grow a booty, but you're not gonna grow a booty. So you
got
like
it.
okay. So like
your little muscle may
shape up really nicely. So if you look through my pictures, right? Because I've never had an ass, but because I work out and I do a lot of muscle building, at some point you can see a little shape in my booty. But because I had those hip dips, whatever I did still was not gonna fully come out. Yeah, all of this wasn't, you know what I'm saying? So I had a little butt that I had built in the gym from nothing to something, definitely. Okay. But some of this stuff that people are posting that's exaggerated.
Yeah, I'm like, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Like, ain't no way. Ain't no way.
So, and then too, you gotta know your angles, and some people can take certain pictures to make things look a certain type of way. And I ain't trying to discredit nobody, but with all these editing apps and all of this going on around here, you honestly don't know who to believe or trust anymore. But I like to believe that most people are honest. Right. But I do know that in the fitness industry, we have a lot of dishonest people
going on. Yes. Man. So like, what do you think that you've learned? Because, let's talk about self-love before we head out. And what have you learned and throughout this whole journey from the beginning to now deciding to have this surgery?
I believe that, so for me, like I said, before I did the surgery, I was pretty happy with the progress and the things that I had accomplished with my body over time, right? And so the surgery wasn't because I had low self-esteem or because basically it wasn't because I had low self-esteem, because I still very much was happy with what I had done, but I just wanted to have a certain look. Yeah. And, and I do want to tap on like career-wise, like it was sort of a career move. Okay. Because social media just governs our lifestyles now, as far as just a bunch of things. What you see, how you promote, free marketing for your business, all of those things. And I know that where I'm trying to go with my career, you have to look a certain way. And so some of it was that too, just me being honest. And like I said, you still may say, okay, but you're a trainer who has surgery, so but like I said, I just think there's a market for the honesty too. And so for me, I've just learned that people will appreciate you, respect you, and admire you for telling the truth. Yeah. And letting them know, like, I definitely loved myself because it started back in 2014 when I lost 23 or 26 pounds or whatever in a 6-week time frame. That's when the loving me became very prominent in my life. Okay. And so by the time I decided to get the surgery, I couldn't love myself any more than I already did. And so I would tell people, if you're running to get surgery because you lack some sort of confidence, well, you have other things you need to work on first. Yeah, because that will still be there in the background. Because it will still be there. You will never feel like you look good enough. You go get the surgery, then you end up back 2 or 3 times, because you're not happy when you could possibly look damn good from the first time. But because you lack that self-love, that confidence in yourself, you don't see what people will see, you know?
Right.
And so I just, like I said, if the surgery is to build some sort of confidence, it may do that to a certain extent, but it still may not be enough.
Right.
You know, to make you truly happy. So you have to figure that part out first. And I also encourage people to try to have some sort of healthy lifestyle prior to,
because it's a lifestyle change.
Yeah, because it's important. And on top of that, no matter what you do, you have to have some sort of regimen, some sort of routine to maintain it.
Yeah.
So I encourage people to do what makes you happy, but at the same time, are you really happy?
Right.
You know what I mean? So you got to remember that, like, you know, and so I've learned a lot though. I've learned a lot. Like I said, I really have submerged myself into the surgery community. I started a Facebook group for the doctor that I went to because he didn't have one. Because he was new.
I know you speak highly, high regards to your doctor.
Yes.
I've seen in your captions and in some of the comments when you're talking back to people who are talking to you on your fitness page.
Dr. Nassif Suede, look him up. He's a bomb. And he's literally taken over Miami. Like, he's making a really good name for himself.
Good.
And I'm proud to be one of the first that was worked on him in Miami. And when I was originally booked with a different doctor. The doctor went out on some sort of medical leave.
And I was gonna say, well, how did you find him?
Right. I was booked with another doctor. The doctor went out on medical leave. Wait, let me back this up. I was booked with one doctor. That doctor left the facility. Once you put your deposit down, you're in contract with the facility, not the doctor.
Got it.
So if the doctor leaves,
you're still stuck.
You're stuck. I mean, you don't have it. You could lose $500 because they say it's non-refundable, whatever, right? So that doctor left. Then I booked with another doctor. But I was okay with the second doctor because I had researched both. Anyway. And the second doctor was like very, very popular. Extremely. Everybody wanted to go to this doctor. And so I was okay with that because...
Are you able to say who the doctor is?
Dr. Doback. Sure. I was booked with Dr. Harry first. Dr. Harry's a Black man. And I wanted to go to him because he was Black. And then he left the facility, but I personally could not be out of $500 because that's what the deposit was. So I basically told them that they needed to schedule me with Doback or give me my money back because I was not at fault that the doctor left. And when you're researching doctors, there's a lot of time and effort that goes into that, and you have to get comfortable. Like I said, you're being put to sleep. You don't know what's about to go on. You literally have to be comfortable with your decision. So I've done all this research, and you're gonna tell me that I'm just gonna go to anybody? That's not what I'm gonna do. So they called me back a couple days later. Like, what if we tell you we can get you scheduled with Doback at the same price? Because surgeons are different rates, you know? So I said, perfect. That works for me too. Then Doback went out probably a month before my surgery. At first I wasn't worried because they were like, oh, she's going to come back and da-da-da-da.
And this is a woman. I don't hear too many.
Dr. Doback is actually a transgender woman. But she went out and I was like, oh. And they brought in this Dr. Nassif, and they were trying to tell people, go to Dr. Nassif, he's good. And there was two other doctors at the facility that I had started researching when, just because I was like, let me see before I have to choose somebody else. And then both of those doctors were getting booked up because most of Doback's patients were booking them because they were popular too. And so at first I wanted one. That person ended up being booked on my date. Then I was like, I'll go with the other one. That person. Anyway, the cards fell how they fell. But I felt like everything happened for a reason because I said, you know what? I started looking up this Dr. Nassif, and then I started thinking about just my original foundation because that's one of the things you want to consider when you're looking at doctors, do they perform well on your original body type? Or, you know, some doctors do better with women that have higher BMIs. Some doctors do better with women who are like, they call it like a skinny BBL, like the smaller ones. And I'm like, well, my body is already bomb. Like, how can you mess this up?
Right.
You know, I felt like anybody should be able to
just handle this.
Yeah, because I'm not, you know, I have a lot.
You like, I just got this little bit.
Yeah, it's just, you know.
So you can put it where I need you to put it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I fell asleep, I like slept on it, I woke up the next day, and my gut was telling me, go with Dr. Nassif. He's not, because they were, these surgery centers in Miami, I'm not going to lie, y'all, they overwork and overbook these surgeons. And nobody wanted Dr. Nassif at the time because nobody knew who he was.
Okay.
He didn't have a Facebook group. They just had started him on Instagram when he came from Maryland. He told me himself that the Miami culture is very different. His patients spoke for him. He didn't have to have an Instagram or a Facebook group. But the Miami world is, if they don't see pictures, they don't think you know what you're doing.
Right.
So I decided I'm just going to take a chance on this person because something in my spirit is telling me that he's not going to be overworked or overbooked. And so he can take his time with me because he don't have 10 girls scheduled in one day, you know? So I said, schedule me with him. I feel something. I know this is going to work. When I went to my pre-op appointment and I met him in person, I felt even more comfortable with my decision. Plus, I started this Facebook group about maybe 2 or 3 weeks before my surgery, when I had figured out that that's who I was going to, and I realized that he did not have a Facebook group. So I started one. When I tell y'all, the people coming into this group, it was flooded with requests. I would wake up and see, you know, all these different requests from people, but a lot of Doback's patients were now starting to be scheduled with Dr. Nassif. So they were coming in trying to see if there was pictures or, you know, but there really wasn't, because we all were coming in. So I created the group though, because I figured all these other doctors have a support group for their patients. So let me start one for him, not knowing what this was going to do for me personally, you know. So I started it. Somebody that had surgery like a week before me told him about me. This girl started a group. She's really nice. And he said, well, tell her, make sure she tells me who she is when she comes. So the girl messaged me and said, I told Dr. Nassif about you and that you were really cool and you started the group. So at my pre-op appointment, I told him who I was. And he was like, oh my God, I've been waiting to meet you. Like, seriously, he was like, you didn't have to do that. You know, you didn't know me, you know, and I'm new to the whole social media world, everything. So he was like, I just, like, dang, like you would start a Facebook group for a doctor you've never met. Like, he thought that was just so big.
It is. And you're like, you are giving him props and saying, come to him, supporting him, and you haven't even had no work done.
I hadn't even had my work done. I didn't know, you know? And so he was like, you need me to take fat from somewhere else? He was willing to, like, add on something extra just because. But he touched my legs, and he was like, oh, no, your legs are fine. And he was like, you actually have, like, a really nice body, you know? And so I left feeling like I had just made the best
You had a connection with your doctor.
Ever. And so the next day, I went in there. I was ready. I never got nervous. I never felt anxious or anything. And when he came in there, he was like, you ready? I'm ready. Marked me up, took me back there. I laid down. He introduced me to the anesthesiologist, and he was like, you're gonna look so good. That was the last thing I remember. I woke up like, did it happen? Like, because I wasn't in pain like they said I would be. So I'm really grateful for him. And now we actually have a relationship. You know, like, we still talk because I do run the page. And so he went through a transition where he left the facility that I had my procedure done at and started like not sort of his own practice, but not his own because there's other surgeons that's coming to the practice, but he was the only doctor there.
Okay.
And so he would text me information to post in the group.
Got it.
Because there were so many people that had started to book with him, all because of my results.
Wow.
Like, and so they were messaging me, and I started being like the middleman between, and so people were posting in the group like they need to cut you a check,
an admin, like an admin.
Yeah, they were like they need to cut you a check, you know. And so now, like, I have a relationship with him, his office manager, and people who work at the facility. His office manager, her name is Teila.
Y'all need to give her a little kickback.
Right. Taila's like one of my good friends now. And, you know, so I've gone and gotten this surgery, but I've made connections with people that, you know, who knows where it will take me and my career. The recovery house I stayed at was super bomb. The owner of the recovery house told me that when I'm ready to do a fitness class in Miami to let him know, and that he would make sure he promoted me and made sure that, you know, people knew who I was and that I was coming. Right. He even said something about me coming to the recovery house, talking to the girls on how to maintain their results once they're fully healed.
Where the money resides.
I made connections off getting this surgery that, you know, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I'm always one of those people that are trying to figure out how can I capitalize on the decisions that I make. And, you know, because
how can you build from here?
Absolutely. Every time. Every time.
Yeah. I think we all can do that. Think of what we're doing, whatever it may be, and think about what's the next step. How can we build from here?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, I did go get the surgery, but it was definitely felt more like a career move than anything else. Yeah.
Oh, well, give us a twirl. We want to see.
Twirl. You want to see the booty? No.
Show the booty, girl.
Let's show the booty. Look,
yes, it looks so good. It looks so natural. It's like, oh, what worked?
So, well, you can't see my face anymore, but you can definitely see the booty.
Yes.
And so there was nothing, like I had hip dips, so this part like sunk in like this on both sides. And so he filled them and it made my butt round out. But I already had like a little here because of what I had naturally did in the gym. So that's the butt. But it wasn't even a lot of fat transferred, but it did, it's a lot. And then the stomach. But the thing about this is I still deal with swelling. Okay. And I don't have my compression garment or anything on right now.
Right, obviously.
So over time it pokes back out. And
but
so that's
good though.
And so that's the thing, like, but I could feel that it could be flatter. Yeah. It's like tight, but it's swollen. Yeah. And you'll deal with that. You can deal with that for 6 months to a year.
One last question. Yeah. How does your husband feel?
Obviously he didn't care either way. You know what I'm saying? He didn't think I needed it. But since I've gotten it done, he's like, damn, shorty, like, you know, and
since you have it now,
you know, so, but he was very supportive, you know, like some people wondered like if he was going to be like, what the are you doing, you know, but when I told him this is what I was doing, he was like, really? Okay, you know, and he went with me, he supported me, you know, along the way, and we went to the beach and relaxed the day before, you know, and just kind of like chilled out. And he was like, you really just going to get some elective surgery? Like, I'm trying to stay away. He didn't broke bones and stuff and been like, no, I'm not going to the doctor, you know? And so he was like, you, like, that was bold, you know? He really like, I think he admires like me for following, you know, I'm a follow through type person. Like if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm going to really do it. Yeah. If I put my hands on something, the goal is to make sure it's going to be as successful as possible. And if it doesn't work, I'm gonna keep at it until I can get it to work. And so I truly believe that I think not only is he admiring the body, but he admired it before. So not much has changed, but I think it was just like, damn, like she really follows through.
Really
like she said she gonna do something and she really did it.
Yeah.
So he's happy about it though. He says, I didn't have no curves at first. Your back just went like this. Now it's like a
right.
And so we joke about it, but he loves it.
He enjoys it.
Yeah,
of
course,
words
absolutely.
of encouragement.
I just, I would like to tell people, which I've already said in the conversation, that if you are unhappy with your body, it's yours. So you have the right to change it however you see fit for you. However, please have a plan to maintain it. And also dig deeper and make sure that your unhappiness is being fixed within first, because you can do anything to your body, but something else is going on. And I'm a firm believer of therapy and having a therapist. I have a therapist. I've had a therapist for 4 years now, and I talk to her every 2 weeks religiously. Okay. And you have to deal with that. But I encourage people to do what makes them happy. So if you want that surgery, go get that surgery, girl.
Boom. Or boy.
That too, okay? Whatever makes me. I always gear a lot of my conversations and a lot of what I do towards women, however.
But I just recently heard that, men.
Oh yeah, they're doing it too.
So that's why I just had to throw that in there.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's men in my group.
Oh, okay.
There's men in my group, and there's transgender women in the group too who have gotten it done by the same doctor. So they're definitely doing it too. And it's
a real community.
It definitely is. But I'm here to inspire. If you need a trainer or if you need fitness tips or whatever, I'm here for that too. So
tell them your Instagram. Everything that she says will be at the bottom, but go ahead and give them your Instagram.
So my Instagram, my business Instagram is Get Fit by Teila. So you can follow me there. I also have a surgery page, but I only allow women on there, but you can absolutely follow me. Some people only want other surgery pages following their surgery page, but I'm really open to whoever, as long as you're not a man. And that page is Snatched by Nassif. The doctor name is Nassif. So Snatched by Nassif. And then the YouTube channel, if you want to watch the journey, all of it is documented. I mean, you can see me coming out of the surgery center in the wheelchair. That page is Get Fit by Teila, and then SX, as in Surgery X-Ray. SX. Most people don't know, but that's like the little acronym for surgery.
I didn't know that.
Well,
thank you so much, Boo, for coming on. I
Thank
appreciate
you for having
this was
me.
so good because,
Yes.
I mean, I don't think it's a fad. I think this is something that's going to be continuing on for years to come.
Absolutely.
And the more that we openly talk about it and be honest is the best way, so that people can have as much information as possible. Right?
Absolutely. And you know what it was too, in our community, we don't talk about it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Other races that go get it done, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah.
But for us, it's not a thing.
Yeah.
But it is a thing. We just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And so we definitely
We're
need
gonna
to
be talking about it.
We need to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot more of us doing it now.
Mm-hmm.
The whole plastic cosmetic surgery thing was a rich people thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But there's a lot more of us that's getting it done, and we definitely need to talk about it because we can help each other out. Another thing I do want to touch on before we wrap up is, if you decide to get the surgery, please follow the doctor's orders. Like, if they tell you don't drink 30 days before, don't drink.
Okay.
If they tell you not to smoke, cigarettes mainly, or nicotine products, don't smoke. If they tell you to take certain vitamins to get your iron levels up and all of that, do that. I think, and I'm not trying to blame anybody, but sometimes things go wrong because we fail to listen. And when I went on the day of surgery, the the girl who was checking me in, she had to come in the bathroom with me while I peed in a cup because people are using other people's urine to get these surgeries done. And so I mean, you're already deciding to get an elective surgery and then you're gonna really play Russian roulette with your life. That's crazy to me. Yeah. But you have to remember, like, some people might be like, yeah, I had a shot the night before. And yeah, they may have been fine, but you do that and then you don't wake up.
Yeah.
And so people have
Everybody
to remember.
Everybody's not the same.
Yeah. I didn't play those type of games. They said, don't do this, don't do that. I didn't do it. I wasn't playing. I was in Miami 2 days before my surgery. I didn't have not one drink.
Yes, yeah.
So, just making sure that you follow the doctor's orders is very important, really.
Life or death, people, right?
Yes.
So, yes, all the information will be below. Thank you for tuning in to Deeper Dive with Tenilej and my special guest, Teila.
Thank you for having me. Bye.